If you are lucky enough to have a brother or a sister, you might know a little bit about sibling rivalry, like I do. And my brother and I have had a pretty good battle going for almost 50 years now. And it's never about anything important like who got better grades or who has a better job or who has better kids. It's always about ridiculous things like who got to sit in the front seat or who got the better popsicle or just trying to like get one over on the other person, trying to annoy them. Like when I was a little kid and I would spend hours in the basement setting up my Fisher Price little people. And then as soon as I turned my head in one swoop, my brother would come in with a wooden plane and bomb the entire village, and I'd have to start over. It was all over. And we were in college. We lived in the same town. And for years, we passed a chocolate foil covered bunny rabbit pack back and forth, where the goal was to leave it in the other person's apartment without getting caught. So you'd like hide it in the bathroom somewhere or deliver groceries and it would be hiding in there. And this went on for years and years and years and years. But one of the most memorable contests that I recall growing up was when we used to go stay at my family's cabin in upstate Pennsylvania. It was an old hunting cabin that my grandfather had built. And there were only 2 bedrooms, and my brother and I had to share the bedroom in the back. And it was a big, long room, and I got to sleep in the full bed on one side, and he got to sleep on an army cot on the other side, which was fine. He was okay with that. And I'm not sure how this started, but I think it probably started from the Waltons. Some of you maybe are too young to remember the Waltons, but if you watch the Waltons TV show, or if you didn't, I'll tell you, they used to end their TV show, the family was all going to bed, and somebody would say, "Good night, John Boy. Good night, Mary Ellen. Good night, Grandpa. Good night, Leroy." I don't remember other names. And so a lot of families said that when they said goodnight, including mine. And so here we are in this cabin where the rooms are all tight and you could talk to anybody in the house when you're in your bed at night. And we probably started by saying, "Good night, John Boy. Good night, Mary Ellen." And somehow between my brother and I, it morphed into a fight to the death for who could be the last person to say goodnight. And it was torture because have you heard the song that doesn't end from that lamb chop puppet? It's like that. It's like the song that doesn't end. So it goes, okay, good night, good night, good night, good night, good night, good night. And you have to be the last one to say it. And so there's all sorts of strategies that you try. You try to slip it in with like, "Oh, and hope that they didn't notice, but you got it in there. And you try to whisper like just quietly, like, "Good night." But then they hear you and you get good night back. And it just went on for hours and hours and hours. And sometimes my mom would yell in, "Will you guys be quiet? We can't sleep. Go to bed." And we'd say, "You're right. Sorry, Mom. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night." And it just never ended. And my brother sometimes, he had a little bit of a temper when he was a teenager, and sometimes he would get really angry. He'd be like, "All right, dummy, I'm serious. Stop it. That's it. No more. The count of 3, we're going to say it together. 1, 2, 3. We go, good night, good night, good night, good night, good night. It just didn't stop. So when I thought of Lights Out, I thought of this right away. And I sent my brother a text and I said, "Do you remember that ridiculous thing we used to do at the mountains? We used to go back and forth, good night, good night." And he said, "Yeah, oh my gosh." He said, "And sometimes I would wait up until you were long asleep and I would wake up in the middle of the night and I would say, good night. And then in the morning, I would tell you that I said one and you would claim that you said it after I went to sleep, that you wake up then after you heard me and you woke up and waited and then you said one." And I was like, "Well, I did. I'm sure that's true." And so now it continues. I think it's been reignited and it's still going on. And so if you have a sibling like I do, I look back at all the joy and all of the fun and when you consider all the important things in life and all the good times I had, I think of these times with my brother that are probably the most fun and the most special among anything I've done. And I don't think he's watching tonight, but if he ever finds this on YouTube, if I ever get hit by a bus or anything, I hope that he knows that I won. Good night. There we go. Done. Thank you.